Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Monday night's Talking Town Extra Time. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov, and I am here on a Monday evening following a defeat. It's not a place I've been in a long time, and I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like the feeling, full stop. So if we can make that stop as of this moment, that would be grand. But of course, we have got to look back and chew the fat over the Sky Curse hitting again, our own downfall, Plymouth being really good, whatever it is. It was Ipswich Town on the back end of a 2-1 defeat. And it's now our chance to have a conversation about it, chew the fat, pull the topics apart, live chat, do get involved. And of course, you are more than welcome to come on the show and have your say throughout. But before we go any further, though, I do just want to say thank you ever so much for the last 28 days. We've had over 53,000 listens. Absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for the support that you give Talking Town and for coming and listening and watching us and our content multiple times a week. It truly means a lot to me to see those type of numbers. And of course, you get things such as FCA Football Content Awards, where Talking Town is in the best podcast that covers the Football League, alongside people such as Hard Truth, Under the Kosh. In fact, I was watching Under the Kosh about an hour and a half ago, maybe. And I was thinking, good grief, how on earth are we in a category with these lot? This is a professional fucking outfit. Then you got us, Bodgett and Scarpa. But we're there. It doesn't matter how we get there. We get there. So thank you ever so much. If you do want to vote for us to try and actually win it, now that'd be an upset, wouldn't it? It's all about upsets in football matches. That would be a hell of an upset. You can do so by heading to the FCA Content Awards website. I will just show you this actually on the screen right now. There it is. It is on the screen. You can head there. Look at that. Best podcast, Football League, Talking Town. Hit the vote. You can, the same way you voted the first time to put us there, you can do so now to possibly allow us to win it. And if you wanted to go one further, if you enjoy what we do, if you get value from our content, then please, of course, consider becoming a Talking Town Bid Stander. Monthly support from $4.99, approximately £1.24 a week. You know all of the amazing value that Talking Town could bring you. So if you can and you want to, please hit the link or hit the join button on YouTube, and let's get rocking and rolling. Let's get Talking Town, less like Bodgett and Scarpa, I guess, and more like Under the Kosh. Great podcast, by the way, fellas. Not that you probably watched this. Anyway, right, some comments before we get into the facts and figures of yesterday's defeat. Bob Lockhart leading the way. New YouTube member, welcome. He says, so gutted, but we will return stronger. Lee Brown, evening, everyone. Some of our so-called fans on social media are clueless after one defeat. Don't bear thinking about it if we lose 2 on the trot. Ran over. Good evening, and you made the decision. And posted on his social media, should he watch the England game or do something else? And I said, come on, watch Talking Town instead. Gina says, being honest, people were good and we were out of sorts. It's a fair point. Good evening, Dan. Mass Danard, my only one real negative is the subs. Twice against good opponents. We've got it completely and utterly wrong in my view. Ben Hobbs, perspective needed after yesterday. For 65 minutes, we were leading one of the best sides in the league, I think he means. Kev Sherwood, let's remember, we haven't been any top 6, but they haven't beat us bar Plymouth. Good team. Let's put some facts and figures on it. Let's show you some numbers from yesterday. So, courtesy of BBC Sports website, this, of course, is the tale of the tape. We won the possession. Let me just make it bigger. You can put your own joke in there. I won't do it for you. So, we won the possession. If you get points for that, great. But sadly, you don't. 51-49, more shots, more on target. Didn't quite have as many corners. And the fouls kind of do indicate the dirty term that some people have called us over the last 4 years. Nonsense. My team are never dirty. Not Ipswich Town, with gentlemen who play football the right way. But yes, that is the tale of the tape, if you like. So, shots on target, all really good looking stuff. SofaScore, the ratings on their website. I'll give you a quick look at that before we get into the show tonight. Marcus Harness is, I believe, the lowest rated player for Town on a 6.3. Is that justified? Do you think that was the case? Big Fred, 7.1. Lots of chatter about him on social media the last 24 hours. Connor Chaplin, 7.3. Walton gets 6. Walton deserves more than that just for the header alone, mate. It was one bit of bright spark in the second half. And I missed it. I was up there getting ready for a show. Janoy, 6.5. So there you go. They're the ratings for yesterday. I've picked out some talking points from social media, as I always try and do for the contributors who are on the show. I've got Lee Evans, Sam Morsey. Is it time for Dominic Ball? Big Fred gets the goal, but is that enough for you? I kind of don't want to talk about Big Fred, if I'm honest, though. I feel like he does a lot of work, but I know people have got question marks about the centre forward. Wes Burns gets 0 minutes for Wales. You're kidding me, right? Like, come on, you take one of our best players, you don't even play him. Nonsense. Caden Jackson is currently our best player. So whatever it is, whatever your opinion, whatever your thought, whatever's in your mind about our football club, get involved. Hit the link and have your say on your platform. Link is now in the chat. Joining me, first of all, is a man that you will know and love very well. He always brings that 10 out of 10 positivity. So no doubt he'll be Mr. Happiness. Mr. Positivity, Neil Mole.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Oh, we didn't dominate any team.
Right.
We did have your shots. How are you, Mr. Moles? Are you well?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good man, good man. So I'll get your thoughts first of all. How are you feeling sat here Monday night after the day before yesterday? I can't get my words out on that sort of. How are you feeling?
I'd say it's probably the worst we've looked all season.
Okay. The worst we've looked all season. Interesting one, that one. Why? What yesterday made us look worse than any other week this week? This year. This week.
I think it was one of the only games that, especially in the first half, they came and battled. They had a game plan, and we attempted to do a little bit of what we normally do. And yeah, I'd say initially they had the better chances. They looked the better side. And if anything, it's one of the first times this season we've looked a little bit clueless on how to score.
Yeah. And before I bring the king of sarcasm in, our king of the north, how are you feeling on the in-game management? I know it's been talked about a lot. You've got Gino saying here, I'm sure McKenna didn't sleep too well last night. Why did I take Freddie off when I did? That's Gino being Kieran McKenna there. You've got other comments like Wazza, Ladapo pinned Plymouth back, should never have took him off. How did you see the in-game management, the subs, etc., etc.?
I'd say the subs were questionable. Ladapo, he done what he does, and yeah, he got a goal, so can't fault him for that.
Yeah,
I'd say Jackson looked our biggest threat, basically. He was probably our best player.
Which is interesting because he's, been a player on the outside looking in, but he firmly is currently our best player. Kelly says Burns wouldn't have made a difference. Hasn't really done much last few games. Wes Burns wasn't a part of yesterday because he was away with Wales. Didn't play a single minute. Where does that sit with you? Because as a football fan, great for him to be away with his country, but if you're not going to play him, then give him back. Let me play him.
Yeah, it's almost one of those where if he isn't really in the plan, is it worth taking him? But good on him for being selected, and yeah, it is annoying, but you can't take anything away from the fact that if he wants to play international football, then good on him.
Kevin Keats was there yesterday. Decided to watch it back in full today. What did you like Payne, dear Kev? And thought we actually played better than I felt live. There you go. Right, King of Sarcasm, his second appearance, one more, and he's due an intro. I feel a Game of Thrones intro coming on. He's our King of the North. It is, of course, Owain in Leeds. Welcome in, Owain.
Hello.
Tell us straight, how are you feeling after yesterday? What's going through your mind? Because social media it's either on the ceiling or on the floor. I can't seem to find really too many in-between accounts that are just keeping it level.
Yeah, you've got a lot of people who are flouncing away. They're, freaking out. Oh, we lost the game. It's the end of days. It's 1 defeat in 10. I know we've not been beating the so-called big teams, but as someone else has commented there, we only one of them managed to beat us. And if it weren't for refereeing, we'd have at least beat Barnsley, in my opinion. So, things could be different. In terms of the match, as I mentioned to you there, Gov, I were in work, so I only saw the second half. I'd have liked to have seen the goal live, but Plymouth looked good, and we didn't look bad. We seemed to struggle to get things clicking with the intricate passing that they seem dead set on doing at all times. And they are, they had a few handy players, did Plymouth. The young Virgil van Dijk lookalike at back seemed quite good, and the lad Whitaker, who was at Swansea, I think, when he was younger. That were a cracking finish, wasn't it? So, is what it is. We move on.
Well, this is it. And you say it's 1 defeat in 10. If you take it in isolation, Owen, it is 1 defeat in 10. Obviously, that's a great statistic, really, at this point of the season, to only have beaten once. But is it, as I tried to ask yesterday, is it more of a gut punch yesterday's result because of what happened at Wednesday? So in reality, you walk away from 6 with 1, but it does feel like you've walked away having almost turned up flat track bully and been, hit on the nose a couple of times, and now you're not quite as big and brave as you thought you were. Because Hillsborough 2-0 up, capitulated, goal up yesterday, didn't walk away with the point. Is that why some fans are, in your own words, flouncing there? Do you think because it's not in isolation, it's the two combined?
Well, to be fair, yeah, in a word, and simply, but I think also. You do look at the substitutions in both games haven't exactly helped matters. So it's possibly the first time where it is a bit over the top to be questioning the manager too much, but you do have to at least say, would you in hindsight have done what you did? Because Ladapo was having a cracker and he didn't exactly look delighted to be coming off.
And Mike Baker... Sorry, Mike Baker says Big Fred was done. He was blowing hard. So I can't remember that. I can't remember him. I didn't really look at him when he walked off. I was more going, fucking bringing him off for.
Yeah, and also
he didn't look that tired.
No, he was still, causing trouble for the defenders up until then. And to take him off, and when Jackson had been our star player at that sort of right wing back spot, to then move him there, so then you lose what was working on the right-hand side, and then all of a sudden Jackson, who is a striker, really looked ineffective when he played up front, which is kind of weird to think about, but that's how it went.
We've got David, welcome in. David, hope you're well. Simon Reed, we seem to lack composure in key moments against Argyle, like making the right pass or shot in front of goal when playing up defence. Top players always make it seem they have the time. Kevin really feel it was a game of fine margin. Another day would have won that 3 or 4-0. Ipswich did what they could, played great football. All what was missing was that second goal. Plymouth had a crazy 25-minute spell and punished us. Gino, supposed positive for Burns, being with the Welsh boys from the Bowers, Magic rubbing off even in training. Lee, we need to up our game in the last 20 minutes in the big games. We look jaded, which is a big thing actually, Neil, because all I've sort of heard every week after a win, and it has been, a bloody great start to the season, is how great our fitness levels are. Now Lee is coming to the party and saying we need to up our game in the last 20 in big games. We look jaded. Does that surprise you that Town have fallen away as they have done in consecutive weeks? Because I thought they were a right at it bunch for 90.
I would say some of the games I've seen us come out of the traps, and the tempo and the way we're closing and going about the game, I do question if it's sustainable for the 90. And as we've seen a few times, we have allowed more spaces and things, and obviously it isn't sustainable for 90 minutes.
Yeah. Possibly so. Simon Harris, looking at top 16, conceded at least 2 against each one. Pompey will be a challenge. Wazza, if you want this club to succeed, start back in the club when we lose and win. Negative comments don't help anyone. And I find that, well, I'm not going to say nonsense, but I don't agree with it because I don't play football for the football club. So I don't. you could be as negative as you want online, in person, negative. You know, oh, I don't think you should do this, don't think you should do that. But I don't think it's going to help the club succeed. Certainly support the football club, without a doubt. Owen, you're turning your nose up. What are your thoughts on that comment?
I know. I mean, to be fair, you know, you don't want to be sort of yes men, just like everything they do is wonderful, even if we get hammered. But he is right. We've lost once, so
absolutely, yeah.
We don't need to be like certain people on Twitter who've caused a bit.
Everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's got their own way of looking. I always call it the piece of string. Everybody's looking at that piece of string, completely through eyes of love, but from different angles.
Everyone's going to have their own way of viewing things. But we've lost once. You know, we're what, a couple of points off top. It's not like it's not last year. You know, it's not like the dull days of Paul Cook. And even I know it's easy to get concerned because in the first 2 years in this league under Lambert, we started better than we have right now, which almost surprised me in terms of the second year, because I think we were on 22 points possibly, and we're on something like that. And obviously that went wrong. That went badly wrong, and you know we felt lovely and miserable come the end of the campaign. But let's keep the hope. You know, we've got a good manager, we've got good players.
But they're the
Burns
things
to come back.
But they're the things that are feeding the paranoia, and it is the paranoia. It's the not beating the top teams. It's the being here before we've fallen away. They're all things that just feed into the Ipswich Town paranoia and psyche. That's my opinion, you know. But there's lots of positives to take away from the campaign. You know, early doors, as you say, first defeat in 10, sitting inside the top 3, Portsmouth at home. Lots and lots of positives. So if you got the positives, if you got the goods, the hot sauce, bring it to the platform. Live chat, live link. Have your say in your words. I can put down talking points all I want, but if you've got something to say, come on and say it. Neil, you were at the game yesterday. How are you feeling today, my man?
Hi, Gov, Neil, Owen. Okay, thanks, Gov. Yeah,
Good man.
Yeah, you get time to sort of look back on it, really. I just want to say first, I don't want to dwell on it because obviously there was other factors why we lost, but the referee was absolutely awful. Again, he was. You know, there's more to it why we lost, but second season running down there I've been, and the referee was just atrocious, really. I couldn't really see from the angle until today Morsey, but he was very lucky to stay on, wouldn't he? That was very naughty what Morsey done. That was a straight red all day long. He obviously didn't send him off, so that probably benefited us. They got the Argyle player, is it the ex on loan from Norwich or something? What he did in the corner was really naughty as well. Could have been sent off for that. He just seemed to lose track of the game. But you know, it's like I've said to a few people, and you know, obviously I'm from Plymouth originally. I just think not to do a hostile exactly, although it can get hostile down there. I just think Plymouth's, you're not going to get a tougher away game all season. You're just not in my opinion. You just will not get a tougher away game all season. And when they equalised yesterday, it was just rocking in there. All their stands are cheering, and it's like a lot more than 15,000 in there. And we just couldn't cope with it, Gov. We were just on the rack really for about 15, 20 minutes. And I was with my son, and I just said, it's not looking. You could just sense another go was coming from, you know. And lo and behold, they go and score another one, and no one run. It's like you said with the energy. No one was showing for the ball. No one was running for the ball. We just looked totally lost for a little while there.
Were you surprised to not see Disco Dom come on the pitch, Neil? Because you mentioned Morsey being lucky to stay on the field. Well, you know, he was on the field, and so was Lee Evans. But both, I believe, certainly both were on bookings. Both couldn't maybe, you know, be as aggressive in that tackle, walking that fine line on that yellow card. Were you surprised you didn't see Disco Dom at some point just to bring a bit of freshness into there and a bit more bite?
Yeah, I was. I mean, for me, out of the two players, obviously they've got books, so it sort of limits your game, doesn't it? You know, you can't do anything rash. I personally thought from watching the game that, especially the last sort of 15 minutes, I thought Morsey came into the game a lot. He was pushing forward. He got in their box a few times, and he actually didn't do too bad the last 15. I think I would have brought Ball on, but I would have brought him on for Evans. I thought Evans had a shocking game. I thought, I don't mean that in a negative way, but Evans was way off it. He was worse than Morsey, in my opinion.
Who, Evans was more off it than Morsey? But
yeah, definitely, I'd say.
Because obviously Wednesday last week, Owen, again the midfield two questions about their performance. Barry Bannon had the freedom of the stadium. Is it time to look at Disco, Dom, for this Saturday? Is it time to break up a partnership that, albeit against Shrewsbury and Forest Green, have performed well?
I think when we come up against very good League One midfielders and combinations, we simply just struggle, because it's nice passing in the middle. And Evans will all of a sudden play out a lovely 50-yard diagonal ball, but he likes to have a bit of space before he does that. When we're getting pressure, especially when was it Houghton who came on? Jordan Houghton. He would press them like nobody's business, and you could tell. I mean, Evans, as you say, he wasn't enjoying himself. I think Ball, just to give us a bit of bite, because once Morsey and Evans had the bookings as well, they couldn't then go diving in. They couldn't take a risk. So your Whittaker's all of a sudden has that bit of extra space where he can tease a defence and then do what he did, which were ridiculous. But I think Ball definitely, he should have had some minutes. I was shocked not to just have just a bit of bite. I feel like he's got a bit of quality about him, and for some reason, I get you don't want to change a winning partnership, but even if it was bringing him in and having us as a 3, so we could just try and control it a bit more. But I do think that's something we need to do from the start of a match, rather than with 10 minutes to go, bringing on another defensive midfielder. We need a bit more composure, and it felt a bit hectic at times yesterday.
It really did, particularly as the wave started to build of momentum behind Plymouth Argyle. Facebook user, thank you for the comment. Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but on a long enough timescale, lack of very consistent striker costs all teams, regardless of their ambition, and it's proved season after season after season. Simon Harris, without the ball, we are simply lacking in midfield areas. Gino McKenna is still learning. I'm not going to say his name because he's not here to defend himself, but it doesn't take people on his coaching base to see where a tactical mistake at the stage of the game. Kevin, watching back today, Evans and JD were horrendous in that last 20. Actually, I said the same thing, Kev, about JD and the aforementioned person before that in the comment. We had a disagreement about it. Lee Bayliss, some of our shooting was powder puff. We are getting in the right areas, but our finishing is poor. Chris Boyd, 5 years ago tonight, we thrashed Sunderland 5-2 and we're sitting in the playoff place in the Championship, dreaming of the Premier League. We have more hope now than any time since. Keep the faith. Great comment. Thank you very much, Chris. Kev Show, please, we have to stop blaming officials. I'd imagine every team in the top half is saying we should have 3 or 4 more points due to officiating. We'll try not to mention officials this evening because Philip Blundell covered it quite in detail yesterday's post-game show. If you want to go and check that out, check it out. And of course, me and Neil have been going back, Mr. Neil Moles there, have been going backwards and forwards on the letter of the law this afternoon in regards to the Connor Chaplin incident. So if we do discuss it, we'll maybe discuss it at the back end of the show, so you all know you can safely tune out. Not just talk about strikers, Mr. Perks. I want to bring a positive to the party, and he's been a bloody great positive so far this year. A shining light, does what he needs to do, does what he's told to do, and does it well with a smile. But he's also got a little bit of quality about him all of a sudden again. It's Caden Jackson, Neil. He was by far unplayable. How did you see his game in the stands?
Yeah, I thought he was really good. He put 2 or 3 cracking balls in. I know he's fast, but no one gambles. Just no one gambles at all. Cracking balls in, and you just need a striker or just someone there who obviously can keep up with him. But to just gamble, if someone would have got in and scored a couple of goals there, brilliant balls he was putting in. And then obviously, as you said already, when they done the changes, took the Dapo off, who I thought didn't have a bad game at all, really. I was surprised he got taken off so early. and then you switch in Jackson and that, and that just didn't work, did it? And we just seemed even worse then. Really, we just seemed to lose our way around that time.
We did. And do you think that's because we were? I've never seen. I think it's Ballymumba play for Plymouth. I've never seen him play before. And I don't watch Plymouth all that often. I'm going to be brutally honest. But for me, sitting at home in the comfort of my 3-seater settee, cup of coffee in hand, lack of football knowledge. I'll be honest. I'll put myself down. Don't worry. I know people will do it for me for free, but I'll do it for myself. Caden Jackson had Ballymumba every which way, and this guy liked to go forward, but he didn't like to defend the Norwich loanee. Jackson just exploited him and used his pace, used his know-how. At one point, used his strength, and then we moved him centrally where there's more space to cover. There's James Wilson. There's the other centre half whose name escapes me, Dan Scarr. Yeah, and he was almost just sort of gobbled up a little bit.
Yeah, because they had a good battle, those two did, as you say. And I was speaking to my friend today. He didn't go yesterday, but he said that I think that Mumba is he about 19 or something? So he's got a brilliant future ahead of him. He's some player, I think, down there. They're quite pleased to have got him, I think. But they had a crack. No, they didn't really like defending. No, I think for me, looking back, just on the game, really, in a whole, I think in my take, we edged the first half, and I thought we were quite good start of the second half. I think where it sort of turned for me was obviously the subs, but before then, when it was 1-0, I think it was about 10 minutes into the second half, we had two great chances. Well, one good chance. We had Donasian across the box, and he got it on target, and the guy's just flung himself, brilliant defending, really, just threw himself in it. And then you had Harness trying to get the ball out of his feet and put it wide. That was a great opportunity, really. Then you had John Jules, I think, twisted and hit two players, and the keeper clawed it out of the top corner. And then we had two balls fizzed across the box. It was still 1-0. I think if we got the second goal, I do think we would have gone on and won. But as I say, as soon as they got that first goal, it just seemed to knock the stuffing out of us completely. We just seemed all void of ideas after that until the last sort of few minutes, when we had the odd chance, and obviously Walton's header, right at the death.
Yes, and Wazza says, imagine the scenes if Walton had scored. Gutted.
Yeah.
Legacy Bates, KM got 2 games wrong where the subs were. PJD, Kevin Keats, Jacker just needs to put those byline balls in the penalty spot countless times. I think the Sky commentator said it right, Neil, as I let you go. Jackson is putting that ball where he would rate the run. So in his mind, he's thinking instinctively back post, whatever it may be. David Burgoyne, thank you very much for the €15, €5 earlier, €10 now. Thank you very much, sir. I hope you are well. You've got a PJ top on the way to you. It's not really a PJ top. George would hate me for saying it is, but we know the score. Neil, back to I don't know where I was going with that now. Actually, look, penalty Germany. We know that we know the rest from here, don't we, Neil? Penalty for Germany.
Yeah.
Never mind. Neil, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show, and look after yourself.
Cheers, guys.
All the
Cheers,
best.
Neil.
All the best. Mr. Moles, I'll come back to you before I bring in Colin, and then we're going to come with Stephen. Everyone at home, Stephen always brings the balance, the neutral, the feet on the ground. So I'm sure he'll bring a few people back down to earth. I'm absolutely no doubt about it. How did you say Jackson's performance on Sunday then, Neil? Because I've written down here, Caden Jackson is our best player, and I'm not going to tell you how many exclamation marks I've put after that sentence. Because I've been his biggest fan. I never thought I'd write that sentence at any point of the campaign. Are you surprised at just how well Jackson has performed inside these first opening games?
Well, his performed okay in the others. I can't really say we can expect too much more from him. He's been okay, but this game just gone, he stepped it up another level, and whether it was some of the others not quite performing as well. I know a lot of people said we had a good game, but for me, we tried. Our normal game plan didn't work. We couldn't do all our small little touches here, there, and everywhere because we ended up kept putting it back to the keeper, and he kept lumping it. And we don't normally do that. We normally just on the floor work our way up the pitch, but we basically just got stopped, and it just ended up being a lump forward. And the only good parts were playing Jackson in behind.
And that's credit to Plymouth, though, isn't it? Really, give credit to the opposition. They've come with a plan, Neil, and they've implemented it. They've stopped us from playing our game, which was dominance and ball retention.
Yep, definitely.
Brandon, I've had a couple of comments. Not Brandon, sorry, Owen. I've had a couple of comments from people sent to me, and I want to put one to you now. This is come in various, methods and ways and words. I'm not going to sort of beat around the bush. I'm just going to say it has. It's been sent to me. It was another TV showing of our incompetence to the Sky viewing world. Well done, Town. It's come in various disguises, that sort of comment. But what would you say back to Town fans today who perhaps, as I said yesterday's show, haven't watched us in a while, have dipped in, have dipped out. Other people that are just neutral. Remember Town being a fantastic European side of 2000s and many years before. It would have looked like, another defeat. What would you say about those sort of comments?
Well, it wasn't quite as bad as that FA Cup game against Lincoln.
Oh no. If we had a bottom, that may have been the bit where we hit.
That was a fun evening in work, surrounded by Leeds fans. No, come on, where it was an entertaining match. All I've seen from people, all the neutrals, that I know the Twitterverse can be a bit of a horrendous place, but also hell of a lot of people saying, "Wow, why are they not showing more League One football on Sky? Why are we being forced to watch, I don't know, Southampton versus Brighton or whatever?" That actually might not be a bad match, but why isn't there? Why aren't we seeing more entertaining League One, League Two games? Because that was an outstanding showcase for League One football. You had a great crowd. The Plymouth fans sounded great. The Ipswich fans sounded great. You had two teams going hell for leather, and we put in a few tasty challenges. I think if Don Goodman had his way, we might have had 3 reds. And Barley Mumbers didn't actually happen according to him. But anyway, but
from memory, Don was quite a hard tackler himself back in the day. From memory.
Well, as you get older, you get softer, don't you? The muscle memory goes. But
poor Don.
Well,
but I don't think I'm the right player. I think.
Yeah, he was striker. Were he at Wimbledon at one point?
I'm gonna have to Google him because I've got a player in my mind, and I could see him making several hard tackles. Here we go.
Maybe.
Career spat.
I just remember him from Championship Manager 95-96. I'm sure
he did play for Wolves. Yes, he did. 125 games between 94 and 98. Before that was Sunderland. Ended his career on loan at Doncaster. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Doncaster there, but he ended his career on loan at Doncaster. It's a sad way to go at it. On loan at Doncaster.
But no, too, I kind of went off on a tangent. But I don't think, it could have been worse. It could have been a hell of a lot better. But Plymouth played really well. They pressed us. They completely stopped us from playing our game. So then all of a sudden we're passing it back to Walter, and as you say, he's then lumping it up front. When Ladapo's on, that's all right. He was causing a bit of trouble still. But when Edmondson got on the ball, it did scare me a few times because he's not a prime Rio Ferdinand, and he thinks he is, and he just needs to calm it down a bit. For me,
he's not a prime Rio Ferdinand. He needs to calm it down. Right, Colin, how are you? First of all,
all right, mate. How are you? All right.
This is helping. This is good therapy. I like it. This is why we do the show. It's why we do the platform. It helps me decompress and work out just what's what. How are you seeing things at Portman Road at the moment? One defeat in 10, 1 point in the last 6, 2 tests. Is it 2 failures for you? Portsmouth, I'm not going to say must win, but is it a win? Where are you on everything? Talk to me.
The old glass half full or half empty. Mine's always half full most of the time anyway. And, I think we've got to look at this as, over the 10 games, and I've had several conversations about this, over the 10 games, when you think about it, if you go back to the Bolton draw, if you go back to the Barnsley draw, if you go back to the Sheffield Wednesday draw, if you go back to, only a day to where we lost at Plymouth, we could have quite easily, and look, apart from the Plymouth game, I've seen every one of them. And I saw that yesterday on Sky, obviously. So I've seen every game, 12 live out of 13. And quite honestly, we could have beat Bolton. When we equalised, we was all over them. We should have beat Barnsley. If the Harness goal had been allowed, it would have put us 3-1 up, and they weren't getting back into that game. We could have quite easily won at Sheffield Wednesday, and we won't go over that. We could have quite easily won yesterday. We had no end of chances. Second half went a little bit tee up, as we know, for about a 15-minute period. But we could have won all 10 games.
But we didn't.
So I quite honestly don't know why people are losing their minds. And when I talk about people, I'm talking about lots of people. I'm not on Twitter, but I get told stuff, and Andy tells me stuff, and I'm glad I'm not on it, because half of it is a load of rubbish, and That's
kind.
Sorry,
I said half of it. That's kind. 99.9% of
well,
it.
I like to be kind most of the time, Gov. And what I'd like to say about the game on Saturday, let's start getting our positive minds on here. We've lost, like I say, so we've gone over those 10 games roughly, right? We are now going into a game on Saturday. As we know, Portsmouth have got a game in hand, but we're playing them on Saturday. So if we beat them on Saturday, that'll knock that kind of on the head. They'll go no points. We'll get 3 points. Plymouth going to Wickham, and that's a difficult place to go. I wouldn't be surprised if that finished in a draw. Well, if that finished in a draw and we beat Portsmouth, we'll be back on top, and everybody will be happy again. It's how it works. And also, I know, Gov, and you're quite right with what you say about opinions and that. You're 100% right. When people start talking about crowds and, we could learn lessons, well, I don't want to learn a lesson personally from a person who was there. I don't want to start learning lessons about crowds being in. I don't mind intimidating crowds, but I certainly don't want to be, I don't want our crowd to be likened with, like, at Sheffield Wednesday, where there was coins being thrown, linesmen being hit on the head by coins, players being hit on heads by coins. That isn't right. No, and I don't care who they are. That isn't right, and that is awful. I haven't got young children anymore, but if I'd have took 2 young children to that Hillsborough, I would have probably left the ground, because I'll tell you what was going on there wasn't fantastic atmosphere. It was intimidating to human beings, and that was not very good. I'm not having that.
No. Yeah, fair point. That isn't how you should behave in football. Absolutely not. Back to yesterday. I'll ask you about this question. Lack of urgency. David Pascoe says, "Hi Martin, I thought it was a good game. We played well. However, our performance when we went behind was a letdown. Real lack of urgency up until Walton hit the bar." And I've often criticised this about us. We are we overplay, and we overplay with our touches, particularly when we're behind, in my opinion. Like yesterday, we're losing the game. It's 2-1. I want touch and pass. I don't want 3, 4, 5 passes along the back line, back to the goalkeeper, work the angle. It's not 0-0. It's not the 15th minute. I was screaming at the TV, show a bit of urgency. How did you see that period of the game?
So, sorry, go over that again. What period of the game was you talking about?
Towards the end of the game, when we're 2-1 down, I was bemoaning the lack of urgency. How did you see the team's approach play at that point? Was it fast enough for you? Was it dynamic enough, or was it too I don't want to say pedestrian, but I'll
Yeah.
say it anyway. Pedestrian.
Yeah, no, I've got you there. I know exactly what you mean. No, I mean, I'm a great lover of, you know, seeing the ball pinged in and playing it quickly and getting on behind and what have you, you know. So no, I totally agree with you, Gav. I don't think it was there like we'd seen in previous games. But again, you see, Gav, that game on Sunday, I mean, the glass half full again. That game on Sunday, we was literally just 2 inches, possibly not even that, an inch away from 2-2. And if I'd have finished 2-2, that would have been a good 2-2, if you know what I mean. We came out of Hillsborough, having been 2-0 up, and drew 2-2, and I walked out of the Leppens Lane, and yeah, I'm going to say it like as if it was a defeat. I know it wasn't. It was probably a decent point, but it felt like a defeat. Now, yesterday, if that Walton's header had gone in, that would have felt more like a win, actually. You know, because they were on top in that 20-odd minute period, and you know, that would have felt like a win, really. But you know, we've got to get this all into perspective. I love this football club, as everybody knows, and we mustn't start getting into that syndrome where we think like everything has fell about around us, because Owen's absolutely right. It hasn't done. We've lost 1 game in 10, and people keep saying about we haven't beat the top teams. Okay, at the moment we haven't, but what you got to remember, all your Ipswich Town lovely fans, you got to remember this: we've still got Barnsley away, we've still got Pompey at home and away, we've still got Sheffield Wednesday at home, we've still got Plymouth to come at home, we've still got, you know, we've still got, like I say, but we've still got Pompey to play twice. Look, there's a hell of a lot of points left, boys and girls, where we can take points off them even twice as it stands at the moment. So, look, we're in a magnificent place as opposed to what we was under Cook and Lambert, and we must always remember that. And also, another thing we've got to remember is that, and I'm glad you let me on tonight, Gav, because I want to say this, because I firmly mean this. I said this to Rich today. I'll tell you what, including Sheffield Wednesday, probably not as much with Sheffield Wednesday, but with Portsmouth, Barnsley, Peterborough, Plymouth, I'll tell you what, if they'd have had the injuries, and I'm talking about a cluster of injuries and very serious injuries that we've had, I think apart from Sheffield Wednesday, nobody would have been able to deal with that at all. And we've got to remember, we're playing Portsmouth. Wait a minute, Gav. We're playing Portsmouth on Saturday in a game that we win. We possibly probably will go back to the top of this table. And we've also got a Mr. Wes Burns coming back on Saturday, who's played no minutes for Wales, so he'll be fresh. We've got Wes coming back, and you know, that's got to be a positive. And you know, and also I did agree with one thing what somebody said in the chat today. Caden played marvellous yesterday. He's played marvellous the last couple of games, but he must, when I think back about like people like Clive Woods and people like who were great on the wing, people like that. When Caden goes down, he gets into some great positions, but just like in that first half, when he got down on that right-hand side, it was just a little look up. He had a 3 or 4 yard, it was all it was, 3 or 4 yard little pullback. Ladapo had a tap in. And I think that was before he scored. I mean, we had no end of chances. Look, I know we weren't brilliant in that second half, but in that first half, that game could have quite easily been done and dusted. I mean, Freddie, honestly, Gav, Neil and Owen, honestly, Freddie could have quite easily had a first half hat-trick. He could have done, you know. So, look, there's loads of positives there. Please, Town fans. And another thing, I pray to you, I've heard that it's nearly a full house. Right. On Saturday, do one thing for me, right? Sing, get right behind them, and let's blow the old Cowley's lot out of the water, and let's get back on the top, and then everybody on Saturday night will be happy again.
All right, Colin, we love you. Appreciate you. Look after yourself. Thanks for coming on. Who sung that song? Sing, sing, sing. Was it Travis?
Travis, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Travis. Look at that.
Yeah.
Scottish
band?
No idea. Just when he started saying, please sing, 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 that's all I got in my head was sing, sing, sing. What do you make of Colin's comments there? I start with you, Neil. Positive, only one defeat in 10. Go and sing at Portsmouth, but we could have dominated, could have walked away at halftime really leading. Is he right when he says that? And if he is, does that mean we are a bit like a heavyweight boxer that just lacks the knockout punch?
I'd say there were several moments in that game that we could have taken a bigger lead, but yeah, as we know, it just didn't happen. So yeah, that's something to look at on the training ground, as if Jackson does need to have more of a look up, or he's come on some strides, and I think without what the effort is put in, he wouldn't have had the game he had yesterday.
Is it fixable on the training ground, Owen? Or is it actually this is the collective squad that we've built? It just lacks that final killer blow, that knockout blow. If we were a heavyweight boxer, we can do all the jabs.
You accusing us of being the Audley Harrison of football. We've got all the sizzle, but no knockout punch.
We can jab, we can dive, we can swing, we can do all the footwork we want. But when it comes to actually 12th round knockout, here it comes. Have we got it?
Well, as others have pointed out, McKenna's not even been in management a full year yet, has he? So these are things he'll learn. And I just to add, any sort of negativity I was feeling before Colin came on is quite quickly gone now. I feel quite. Usually, just to add, he does put a smile on my face when I'm watching at home. So yeah, I feel all right now. We've got Audley Harrison and we've got Colin, so all's well. Yes, we kind of, in an ideal world, we'd have that nasty twat on the bench, sort of like I'm not gonna say him who's now at Barnsley, but like what Joe Garner was the year when we had Wag on. Just an irritating pest. That's what I feel we lack. Just someone who a lot of people wouldn't like because he's not classy or silky, but just someone who's a pain in the neck. And I feel if we had that coming off the bench, that could be the difference for us, because I were pleased with Ladapo. I was delighted with Caden until he went to striker. But that wasn't really on him because he's got, as you say, is it Scar and Wilson? They know what they're doing at the back. And the young, was he Dutch? The lad who,
I think so.
The one when he blocked the block he made on who I can't remember, who shot from the right hand side of the area now. But they were chucking themselves at everything, and we did what we could. Leaf had a good game again. Morsey was direct. It just didn't quite happen, did it? Maybe if the chance from the left, where we keepers tipped it onto the post, if he'd looked up and passed it. But it's all if buts and maybes. Once again, it's one defeat in 10. It could be worse.
Paul P, we know where we are for the games against Sheffield, Plymouth and Portsmouth. We're on Saturday, and it's not too bad, but losing it doesn't look great. Neil says no one was showing about the lack of urgency, a real lack of energy and synergy. Looked totally deflated once it went 2-1. Parry says both Wednesday and Plymouth didn't beat us at Portman Road. Lee Bayes, let's give Pompey a battering on Saturday and make up for it. I'm sure the players were up for it on Saturday. Neil Perks, you are still in a very strong position and in a far better place than last season after 10. Fair point. Chris says, spot on the go. We have to remember we're in a run. We started on top, playing second, third, and fourth. We'll get easier, and we are competing every game. Gino, so many positives to dwell on. Keep leading, we'll go up and do so in style. Get your hotel booked for the Fleetwood game. PJ, exactly right about Jackson. He must look up and pick someone else. David, Reed top 6 record on a McKenna. I think Rotherham were the only side to beat one of his sides last year. Draw with Wigan and MK, beat Wickham and Plymouth. Why does it always rain on me, says David. And then Moby says, people are frustrated because it's another failure to beat a top 6 side. Plus, it's about the time the wheels have come off the last couple of seasons. Folks are feeling deja vu. Last caller this evening, Stephen Parry. What do you say back to Moby there? Great comment from Moby.
Well, I just hope it's all right because I'm using my phone. I need to buy a new computer. So
looks beautiful. Looks beautiful, Beep.
No, I think I get points on both sides. I really do. And it's not that nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Everybody's right. You know, you can critique the club as well as praise what we did. You know, we all watched the game for 60, 65 minutes, similar to Sheffield Wednesday. We were the better side. There was only one side in both those games who were going to win. Yeah. Changes affected both games. Yeah. And you know on Sunday that a change affected the game because he ended up moving Jackson out wide again because to try and counter. So he recognised that was wrong and he changed it because Edwards came on and Jackson went out wide and Hadney went up front. You know, so we can see that, and obviously he can see it because he changed it. Yeah, it doesn't help when they score, but we also have to take into account both their goals were pretty much unstoppable. You know, they were worldies. You know, if we were scoring them, we're panting all. You know, on any other game, they go wide, they miss, they hit a defender. You know, these things happen. You know, football's massive amount of skill, but it's also a massive amount of luck. And if the luck's not with you, it's not going to happen. You know, I still remember the game when Liverpool played Burnley. Liverpool had like 25 shots. Burnley had one. Burnley win 1-0. You know, that's gutting. Yeah. And it was like two heavyweight boxers, going back to your analogy. We were both slugging it out. Yeah. Someone's got to win. You know, both sides could have won that game. Both sides could have drawn that game. Both sides could have won that game. On the day, it was them who got the luck. I take the point that, to be honest, I think Caden should have looked up. I think when John Jules had that shot, there was at least two players on the just running into the 18-yard box he could have squared it back to. They need to start looking up and seeing who's in space. Is there someone in a better position than me? You know, I know it's difficult when you know, it's the game's playing and, you know, you're doing that, but that's part of the game. You know, if you want to be a professional player at the top level, you have to be able to look at all the best options and evaluate it yourself. And I think sometimes we don't do that. And I think sometimes, especially, plus Jackson's got to realise he's faster than anyone else on that pitch. You know, if you're expecting someone to get in the 6-yard box off a Jackson cross, you've got to find someone as fast as Jackson to keep up with him. Well, otherwise, there's going to be no one there. You know, it's like I don't know. It's like expecting a draw against Linford Christie. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? He's faster than them, so he's got to realise they're always going to be behind him. So, as a footballer, if you're faster than somebody else, where do you think them people are going to be? They're not going to be level with you, so you just put it into the 6-yard box. They're going to be a bit behind you, so you're trying to get it into the 18-yard box. And I think that's where we need to focus most. I think Colin's right. You know, on another day we win that. You know, if we'd have had we've just had probably the two hardest away games you can play in this league for any club. Yeah, and they came one after each other. If one was in, I don't know, one was now and one was in December, nobody talks about it. It's just, two hard games. It's just they come after each other and people focus on it more. You know what I mean? But if it was separated between months, then I don't think it matters as much. You know, let's not remember those teams who went up last season, most of them lost around 10 games. Yeah. Between 8 and 9. Yeah. And we've only lost one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And we're still on 21 points. We've got 2 home games coming up, Cambridge and Portsmouth. You know, after those 2 games, we could be smiling again. I think we just need to calm down a little bit. Understand, you know, it's easy for all fans to go, well, you know, the substitutions didn't work. And I don't want to come down as I don't want that, because at the end of the day, I think they were all planned substitutions. I think they were decided before the game started. And on both occasions, we were leading. Yeah. Now, we credit McKenna and the team when the substitutions come on and have a positive effect. But we also say, well, when they come on and don't have a positive effect, yeah, we're negative. That's a fair point. But we have to accept that sometimes all substitutions, none of them come on and always have a positive effect. Sometimes they'll come on and have either a neutral or a negative effect. We have to accept that as well. Either that or we just decide not to substitute anyone. And in a squad like ours, you can't do that. And I do think they were planned substitutions because, you know, if we were in this position at this time, we changed this person and this person. Last 2 games didn't work. Maybe they targeted that. Maybe they thought, well, you know, if they're in the lead at that time, we'll bring these people. They'll bring these people on. Then we can have a go at them. Maybe they did that. I don't know. We'd need to be in their tactical department. All we can do is look back at it in hindsight and say, well, that didn't work. Well, no, it didn't. And I think McKenna knows it didn't. And you can tell he knows it didn't because he moved Jackson back to the back.
He tried to change it. Yeah, he tried to change. Yeah, he tried to reverse it.
Yeah, and it was too late by then. So let's just cut him some slack. Let's give him a bit of credit. You know, there's a lot that was right about it. There was a lot that was there was bits that were wrong. I think there was more right than wrong. Yeah, Freddie getting off the mark, massive boost of confidence for him. You know, and he could have had 2 or 3 more. So I think we've got to look at the fact. You know, we had more shots than they did. You know, if we weren't having shots, I'd be more worried. You know, because all it takes is sometimes just a little bit of luck. You're going your way, and those shots 2 of those shots go in, we win. You know. I've seen many teams this season win with like 4 shots, and the other team gets like 2 goals, and they win with like 4 shots. You know, that's because they've had the luck on the day. That doesn't last throughout the season. If you're having more shots than your opposition throughout the season, you're going to get more goals.
Okay, Stephen, as always, very level-headed, very well put across, very articulate. I am getting a bit of motion sickness though, looking at the camera. It's
sorry about that.
It's like being on a roller coaster at Alton Towers.
I'm getting a new laptop this week, so sorry.
We love you, Stephen. Look after yourself. All right?
Look after yourselves,
stay
guys.
well. Stay well. Before I let both, I'm going to try and get Ipswich marker in a second. But his signal isn't too great. But I'll let both of you go for now. But before I let you both go, I want to ask you from one positive from the last 2 games. One positive that we can take in to Saturday. Give me one thing to hang my hat on and make me smile. What do you think about that? I've got a few comments first of all. We've got Roy Clark. I don't think planned substitutions are a good thing. Kev, well said, Stephen. Really good analogy. Piers, my bar wants your phone number. PJ, they're professionals. They should be able to look up and put the ball where one of the teammates should be, according to the coaching they've been given for the situations. Jason's fit start to worry when we create nothing. Neil, ball needs to start for me on Saturday, and I'll stick with Big Fred up the top. In terms of England, it is currently 2-2 with a huge penalty shout. It could be given. Owen, positive from you, please.
We created plenty of chances. We've scored goals. It's not like we're getting nilled and conceding 4-5. And also, as I previously mentioned, McKenna, not long into management, he's learning from this. You know, he is a young manager and he's going to be picking up on things and going, you know what, maybe I won't do that next time, or maybe I'll listen to, let's say, Martin Pert might have something that he says, actually, should we be trying this instead? Like a good number 2, you know, kind of like Sammy Lee back in the day with Big Sam. You know, he'd be chipping in his ear like a pain in the neck. But sometimes that's what you need to give a different perspective. So I think he'll learn from it. We'll learn from it. And once again, we're second in the table. We've got a couple of home games, and then we've got the likes of Morecambe. So come on, we'll be all right.
The king of sarcasm, our king of the north. Owen, we appreciate you, my man. Look after yourself. Thanks for coming on the show this evening. Mr. Moles, Mr. Positivity. This is your home. This is where you dwell on the positive landscapes. One positive, please.
To be fair, he took what I was going to say, the fact that we created lots of chances and happened to score. It is good that Ladapo got on the score sheet, and yeah, we've got Burns to come back, and yeah, not sure quite what else to say. Obviously, Walton's still looking cracking between the posts.
Unbeatable. Yeah. England have, I believe, just taken the lead 3-2, courtesy of a penalty. Was it a foul for you, Chaplin?
No.
Wasn't a foul for you?
No.
Why
If he had have decided to actually go for the ball, and either I can't 100% remember whether he would have easily have just hoofed it away or whether he would have had a 50-50 on his hands. But either way, he wasn't even interested in the ball. He basically was like, yeah, I'm not here for that. You can see he's just looking at the man the whole way. He's gone sideways. He's dilly-dallied on that so much he's only just made it in front of the man. And it sort of just jumped into him. And he's tried his little scheme. It failed miserably, and he deserves it. What he got for it, rather than actually doing what he should have done. That's my opinion on it. I know you differ.
I do differ. I disagree. In only the sense that for me, going off the rule book, the referee has to make a decision either way. Because if we go by what you're saying, the rule book says, I took this from the FA website. Impeding the progress of an opponent means moving into the opponent's path to obstruct, block, slow down, or force a change of direction when the ball is not within playing distance of either player. Which is what you just said, sort of Chaplin's done there, right? He's looked where the player's coming from and got himself in the way. But that's a foul, according to the extract I pulled out from the FA website. Or you see it the other way, where he is shielding the ball from man and him, and he's run through. I see it that way. You see it the other way.
The thing is, the next bit has happened quite quickly. The fact that it makes it across to that other man and he's struck a cracking goal.
Yes.
Has it happened so fast that it's just then gone, well, they've had advantage and scored from it. I don't have to intervene here.
Yeah. But this is it. It's happened so incredibly quickly. Whereas my argument is the extract that reads, a player may shield the ball by taking a position between an opponent and the ball if the ball is in playing distance and the opponent is not held off. So, yeah, one of those 50-50, 60-40. It wasn't given. They scored a fucking goal. There we go. But your positive is good. We create plenty of chances.
As I said to you earlier, when I initially saw it, I was really annoyed. I was screaming for a foul, but no, when you see it a few times over and, not even gone for the ball, just watching the man and his little effort has gone wrong.
Yes, this is it. We need VAR, as Stephen says. Kel, more big games coming up. Please play ball instead of Evans. Neil, we appreciate Mr. Positivity. Thanks for dropping in last minute.
That's
we love you. Look after yourself. Let's try Ipswich Mark signal. Ipswich Mark, are you there?
I am.
Good
you
man.
Can hear me now?
We can. Whether you stay or not, we do not know. But what are your thoughts as we round up the show? What do you want to say?
No, I'm just saying all the fuss about yesterday. Yeah, it was one of those games that we lost. It could have gone either way. If we had taken our chances, we'd be sitting here top of the table talking. But we didn't take our chances once again. The lads make mistakes. It's League One players. I think I've got to drill into people's heads as well. It's League One standard. League One players are inconsistent. And before Freddie scored, I sort of said, now I understand why people get frustrated with the lad. But he did score. I thought Jackson played brilliant on the wing. He's good at going forward. He's not as good going back. He's not a striker, so they're going to convert him to that. I thought that the early bookings might have changed everything because the lads weren't getting sort of stuck in like they normally do. On that end of it, I don't know why they didn't bring in Ball, maybe to take off Morrissey, but maybe we're not allowed to take off Morrissey because he's club captain and all that nonsense. But I thought overall, it was just one of those games that we didn't win. Loads of positivity still going. We're second in the table. Would have taken that at the start of the season. All good so far. Again, it's League One, so it's going to be inconsistent. There's going to be fellas making mistakes all the time. There's going to be more mistakes before the end of the year. So I'm not too worried, if I'm honest with you yet.
Not too worried, if you're honest with me. Well, we are 10 games in, so I can finally debut the league table on the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're 10 games in, so we can finally look at a league table. It's not as nice as it would have been, as I was hoping to show you at the 10-game mark, but it does show us second place, 21 points, 1 defeat in 10, 3 draws, 6 wins. Portsmouth up next. Mark, as you look at that top 10, so from Exeter, let me just move the table so you can view it.
No, I
There we
reckon.
go.
Again, we only lost one game. That's against the top team. We didn't lose to Wednesday or Barnsley or Bolton. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of positives. Now, we do have to beat those teams at the end of the day. But what we're doing, we haven't done in recent seasons, is beating the teams that we couldn't beat as the teams down the bottom. And as far as I'm concerned, those are the ones that will win you the title, not the teams against the top. Although, of course, they help. Not being silly. But,
yeah, this is it, isn't it? Next two games, though, are against 3rd place and 7th place, both at home. Portsmouth, then Cambridge on the Tuesday night. Anybody in that top 10, if you look at it, that you think actually won't be there come May?
Who actually won't be there? I don't think Barnsley will be there. I think they might be overtaken maybe by Peterborough, but I don't reckon right them either. I think it's between ourselves and Sheffield Wednesday still. I said at the start of the season, and nothing changed my mind since. I think we actually would have won yesterday if we had taken our chances. It would have been a super draw if you had headed that goal in at the end, but it wasn't to be the case. But yeah, just one of those games. We can't win them all. Man City don't win them all. Germany don't win them all.
Well, this is it. I think I'm hearing the chat. There's been a Pope shock, but I don't know what's going on there. There we go. Gov, show the other table prediction. No, I'm not showing that. It's not up to date just yet. But we're done. We're dusted. The book on Plymouth is now closed, my friends. We have closed the book. We have moved the chapter, and we are now on to Portsmouth. Join me Wednesday, 8:30, where Henderson, No Filter Yorkshire V, and the Milk Tray Man Ben Adams will be looking ahead with me to the return of us going to Portman Road and Portsmouth. But until then, he is the wonderful Mark. Thank you for joining us, Mark. I appreciate you ever so much. Become a YouTube member today. Hit the join button, Ko-Fi 5th Stand. Head to there, sign up. But until Wednesday, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Button, subscribe to the channel. But with love, with care. Thank you to all of the guests and both contributors. We'll see you all soon.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, love. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, yes, love. Oh, yes, love. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you.